Hello boxing fans, right now I'm chatting on about Matthew Macklin getting stopped by Sergio Martinez, otherwise known as Maravilla. And what do we know about this fight? Well, it was a really good fight, you know. It was a much closer fight than any of us expected in reality, you know. We didn't expect it to last that long, or for the points to be as close as they actually were. There's a lot of people who are saying that Martinez could have been losing the fight going into the final round, before the knockdowns that is, you know. And what did we get in this fight? Well, Macklin showed us that he is really top level. He's got a decent chin and he's got a decent skill set to go with that. However, Martinez showed us that, you know, his game plan does work on stamina. He can carry his power for the full 12 rounds, but you know, it's expected, you know, that we expect it from a former footballer and pro cyclist. You know, both sports that thrive on long distance stamina. So he's really made for this game, you know. And even though he's still got it at this advanced age, we expect it. You know, before the fight, and before I go through how I saw this fight, I'm just going to put a disclaimer up right now, because I was extremely intoxicated at this point in the night. You know, so my scoring was based around watching this fight with a load of Irish people after a bottle of vodka, 3 car bombs, 3 fire bombs, 5 shots of Mickey Finns, 2 pints of cider, and I think I had a glass of SoCo as well. So, you know, I can say I can remember about 80% of the night, so, and the fight. So I'm just disclaiming that right now. You know, going through the fight now. Round 1 was close, but it could have gone either way. Round 2 was another close round with Martinez scraping it on like quality alone. His good movement too. You know, 3, 4, and 5 were all Macklin rounds, clearly Macklin rounds. You know, it's based on he was actually trying to outbox Martinez, and instead of just landing cleaner shots, and sometimes having effective aggression too. But Martinez didn't expect this from him, and he didn't exactly know how to counteract this, because he did have some good head movement too, a lot better than we actually thought. You know, round 6 was close, probably a Martinez round. You know, 7 was a 10-8 round for Macklin in my book, so that was another good round for him. So he's got 5 points already going into the 8th, so he's looking good here. You know, round 8, you know, this is when Martinez was coming through at this point. You know, Macklin was starting to slow down a bit. Martinez was still keeping it at the same pace he'd been fighting. He landed some good left hands. He snaps out the good hooks as well. You know, another thing was round 9. There's another good round for Martinez. Round 10 was a good round for Martinez, where he was just picking Macklin off all night. And then round 11 was at the 2 knockdowns, you know, off the left hand, which was a very sneaky punch all night long. You know, he survived to the end of the round. This is Macklin, and then Buddy McGirt called it off. You know, I don't rate him as a trainer, to be honest. I don't think he's brilliant. He's got a history of pulling out people a bit too early, and I think he could have. I don't know. I'm not going to say he should have, couldn't have. Maybe it would have helped me if he took it to a unanimous decision. If he went out and saw the last round, the 12th round, maybe it would have been better for me for him to go out and have done that last round. I would have got my prediction spot on. Load of people would have been wrong, including, well, a load of people really. I don't think many people saw the unanimous decision. I did, but I was literally 3 minutes away from it, and Buddy McGirt, the git. So yeah, that's what I've got to say about that. One thing that we do know for sure is Martinez is getting these knockouts consistently. You know, sometimes against the run of play. Williams was against the run of play. Barker was, well, sort of against the run of play, in terms that it was a very close and weird fight that we didn't expect, and the knockout came out of nowhere. Chinzorek was always on the cards for the KO, but the Macklin one was another one where, even though Macklin was not in control at that moment of time, the KO was very sneaky and we didn't see it coming. It finished the job. So where did these guys go next is a good question. Well, for Macklin, it's much easier to find Macklin fights right now than, well, for Martinez for sure. You know, he could still fight Darren Barker if he pleased. You know, maybe Pirog, now that Barker and Pirog are not fighting. Chavez Jr., but I think he's fighting Martin Murray next. You know, maybe Felix Sturm again, if Sturm is willing to, you know, man up. But we don't know. But what about Martinez? You know, it seems quite hard for him. I'll go through why. You know, Pirog, you know, he's happy defending his title out of Russia. That sort of thing will cut cut out Martinez really. Chavez Jr. has no intention whatsoever on fighting Martinez. What about this guy Gil, the IBF champ? Maybe him at 160. Is there anyone else in 100? Andy Lee? Is it Andy Lee? Him maybe. I think he's the number one contender to one of the titles now. Maybe that's a good fight that he could make. Or maybe if not, you can go down to 154 pounds. You know, is Cotto a good one? Because if Cotto loses to Mayweather, would you take that fight? You know, possibly because it's a name to go on the record. Mayweather's going to jail soon, so that's going to cut him out in the short term. But will Mayweather fight in the long term? You know, I particularly don't think he will. But even if he does, you know, this is a lose-lose situation for both of those fighters going into a fight between them two. I'll talk about this actually in a different video. I'll do another video about where Martinez should go from here, a whole different one. But other people who he could fight would be Alvarez. Does he have any intention of fighting Martinez at 154? I doubt it. Cornelius Bundridge, IBF champion. I doubt he has any. He's not done anything recently, has he, at all? So maybe that would be a good fight to make. But you know, I don't know. Most people got the prediction right. So if you want shout-outs, I'll do the shout-outs on the next video. So tell me what you think about this fight. It was a good fight, wasn't it? It was a brilliant fight, brilliant effort. Both guys did themselves proud. The only thing is, I just don't think Martinez has a style that's going to trouble any of the top contenders, you know. I'm thinking about Mayweather and I'm thinking about Pacquiao. I don't think he could. Well, one, I don't expect him to fight Pacquiao because Pacquiao is way, way, way too small, you know. And Mayweather, he's too small for me to fight the bigger guys at 147. So moving up to 154 is not a great, I think, career move in terms like only against Cotto is it a good move because Cotto is also a former 135, 140, 147 pound boxer, but are now up at 154. But against other people who are just huge in terms of size, you know, size it does talk. You know, it does talk. If it didn't, people like, you know, Vladimir Klitschko and stuff like that wouldn't be on top, but they still are because they're just too big.